Hello everyone. Today we are going to read a very inspiring book, You Can Win by Shiv. So let's begin. The first chapter is Importance of Attitude. There was a man who made his living selling balloons at a fair. He had balloons of many different colors, including red, yellow, blue, and green. Whenever business was slow, he would release a helium filled balloon into the air. When the children saw the balloon go up, they all wanted one. They would come up to him, buy a balloon, and his sales would go up. All day he continued to release a balloon whenever the sales slowed down. One day, the balloon man felt something tugging at his jacket. He turned around and a little boy asked, "If you release a black balloon, would that also fly?" Moved by the boy's concern, the man replied gently, "Son, it is not the color of the balloon. It is what's inside that make it go up." The same principle applies to our lives. It's what inside that counts, and what inside of us that make us go up is our attitude. William James of Harvard University said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitude of mind." Your attitude contributes to success. A study attributed to Harvard University found that when a person gets a job or a promotion, 85% of the time it is because of his attitude, and only 15% of the time because of intelligence and knowledge of specific facts and figures. It is surprising that almost 100% of education dollars go to teach facts and figures, which account for only 15% of success in life. You Can Win is all about that 85% of success. Attitude is the most important word in the English language. It applies to every sphere of life, including one's personal and professional life. Can an executive be a good executive without a good attitude? Can a student be a good student without a good attitude? Can parents, teachers, salesperson, employers, or employees be good in their roles without a good attitude? The foundation of success, regardless of your chosen field, is attitude. If attitude is such a critical factor in success, shouldn't you examine your attitude towards life and ask how your attitude will affect your goals? Acres of diamonds. Hafiz was a farmer in Africa who was happy and content. He was happy because he was content. He was content because he was happy. One day, a wise man came to him and told him about the glory of diamonds and the power that goes along with them. The wise man said, "If you had a diamond the size of your thumb, you could buy your own city. If you had a diamond the size of your fist, you could probably own your own country." And then the wise man left. That night, Hafiz couldn't sleep. He was unhappy and he was discontented. He was unhappy because he was discontented and discontented because he was unhappy. The next morning, Hafiz made arrangement to sell his farm, took care of his family, and went off in search of diamonds. He looked all over Africa and couldn't find any. He looked all through Europe and couldn't find any. By the time he got to Spain, he was emotionally, physically, and financially depleted. He was so disheartened that he committed suicide by throwing himself into the Barcelona River. Back home, the person who had bought his farm was watering the camels at the stream that ran through the property. Across the stream, the rays of the morning sun hit a stone and made it sparkle like rainbow. He thought that a stone would look in his living room. He picked up the stone and put it on his mantelpiece. That afternoon, the wise man came and saw the stone sparkling. He asked, "Is half his back?" The new owner said, "No, why do you ask?" The wise man said, "Because that is a diamond. I recognize one when I see one." The man said, "No, that's just a stone I picked up from the stream. Come, I'll show you. There are many more." They went and picked some samples and stamped them for analysis. Sure enough, the stones were diamonds. They found that the farm was indeed covered with acres of diamonds. What is the moral of this story? There are six morals. When our attitude is right, we realize that we are all walking on acres and acres of diamonds. Opportunity is always under our feet. We don't have to go anywhere. All we need to do recognize it. The grass always looks greener on the other side. While we are eyeing the grass on the other side, there are others who are eyeing the grass on our side. They would be happy to trade places with us. People who don't know how to recognize opportunity complain of noise when it knocks. Opportunities are easier recognized when they are leaving rather than when they are coming. Opportunity only knocks once. The next one may be better or worse, but never the same one. That is why it is so crucial to make the right decision at the right time. A right decision at the wrong time becomes a wrong decision. David and Goliath. We all know that biblical story of David and Goliath. Goliath was a giant of a man. He struck fear in everyone's heart. One day, 17 years old shepherd boy came to visit his brother and asked, "Why don't you stand up and fight the giant?" The brothers were terrified of Goliath and they replied, "Don't you see? He is too big to hit." But David said, "No, he is not too big to hit. He is too big to miss." The rest is history. We all know what happened. David killed the giant with the slingshot. Same giant, different perceptions. Our attitude determines how we look at setback. To a positive thinker, attitude can be a stepping stone to success. To a negative thinker, it can be a stumbling block. Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, as well as many others, have said that every problem comes with an equal or greater opportunity. The importance of attitude to organizations. Have you ever wondered why some individuals, organizations, or countries are more successful than others? It is not a secret. They are successful because they think and act more effectively. They do so by investing in their most valuable assets, people. I have spoken to executives in major corporations all over the world and a question. Asked them a question. If you had a magic wand and there was one thing you could change that would give you a cutting edge in the marketplace, increase productivity and profits, what would that be? Their answers were unanimous. They said they would like to change their people's attitude. With better attitudes, people would be better team players, cut back on waste and become more loyal. In general, their company would be a great place to work in. Experience has shown that human resource is the most valuable asset of any business. People are more valuable than capital, equipment. Unfortunately, human resource is also the most wasted of resources. People can be your biggest asset or your biggest liability. TQP, total quality people. Having attended a number of training programs such as customer service, selling skills, and strategic planning, I have come to the conclusion that most of these are great programs with one major challenge. None of them will work unless they have the right foundation, and the right foundation is TQP. What is TQP? Total quality people are people with character, integrity, good values, and positive attitudes. Don't get me wrong, you do need the other programs, but they will only work when you have the right foundation. Total quality people. For example, some customer service programs teach participants to say please and thank you and give smiles and handshakes. But how long can a person smile if he does not have the desire to serve? Besides, people can always see through a fake smile. When the smile is not sincere, it is irritating. My point is that has to be substance over form, not form over substance. Without a doubt, people who serve customers should say please and thank you, smile, and so forth. These things are important. But keep in mind that they come a lot easier when accompanied by a desire to serve. French philosophers and said, if I had your brain, I would be a better person. Pascal replied, be a better person and you will have my brains. Great organizations are not measured by wages and working conditions. They are measured by feelings, attitude, and relationships. When employees say, I can't do it, there can be two possible meanings. Either they are saying they don't know how to, or they are saying they don't want to. If they are saying that they don't know how to, it is a technical training issue. If they are saying that they don't want to, it may be an attitude issue. They don't care, or value issue. They don't believe they should do it. The Calgary Tower stands at 190.8 meters. The total weight of the tower is 10,884 tons, of which 6,349 tons are below ground, approximately 60%. This shows that some of the greatest buildings have the strongest foundation. Just like a great buildings stands on a strong foundation, so does success. And the foundation of success is attitude. A holistic approach. I believe in a holistic approach. We are not just arms and legs, eyes and ears, a heart and a brain, but a complete human being. The whole person goes to work and the whole person comes home. We take family problems to work and work problems to the family. What happens when we take family problem to work? Our stress level goes up and our productivity comes down. Similarly, work problems too have an impact not only on our family but on every aspect of our lives. Personal, professional, and social problems impact each other. Factors that determine your attitude. Let me ask you, are we born with attitudes or do we develop them as we mature? What are the factors that form our attitudes? If you have a negative outlook on life because of your environment, can you guess your attitude? Most of our attitudes were shaped during our formative years. While we were born with tendencies toward temperance. There are three factors that largely determine our attitude formation. These are the triple A's of attitude: environment, experience, education. Let's evaluate each of these factors individually. Environment. Environment consists of the following: home, positive or negative influences; school, peer pressure; work, supportive or overcritical supervisor; media, television, newspapers, magazines, radio, movies; cultural background, religious background, traditions and beliefs; social environment, political environment. All these environments create a culture. Every place, be it a home, organization, or a country, has a culture. For example, you have probably been to a store where you found managers to sell clerks alike to be polite, helpful, friendly, and cheerful. Yet at another shop, you find the staff rude and discourteous. You go to home and find the parents and children well behaved, courteous, and considerate. You go to another home where everyone is fighting like cats and dogs. In countries where the government and political environment is honest, generally you will find that the people are honest, law abiding, and helpful. And the reverse is true too. In a corrupt environment, an honest person has a hard time, whereas in an honest environment, a corrupt person has tough time. In a positive environment, a marginal performer's output goes up. In a negative environment, a good performer's output goes down. Culture in any place always goes from the top down, never from the bottom up. We need to step back and look at what kind of environment we have created for ourselves and those around us. It is tough to expect positive behavior in a negative environment. In societies where lawlessness becomes the law, honest citizens become cheats, crooks, and dacoits. Take some time to evaluate how the environment that you are in affect you. Changes according to our experiences with various people. If we have a positive experience with a person, our attitude towards him is likely to be positive, and conversely, negative experiences tend to make us cautious. Experiences and events become reference points in our lives. We draw conclusions which serve as guidelines for the future. Education. Education refers to both formal and informal education. We are drowning in information but starving for knowledge and wisdom. Strategically applied knowledge translates into wisdom, which in turn translates into success. The role of educator is vital. A teacher affects eternity, the ripple effect immeasurable. Education out to teach us not only how to make a living but also how to live. How do you recognize people with positive attitude? Just as the absence of ill health does not equal good health, in the same way, the absence of negativity does not make a person positive. People with positive attitude have certain personalities that are easy to recognize. They are caring, confident, patient, and humble. They have high expectations of themselves and others. They anticipate positive outcomes. A person with a positive attitude is like a fruit of all seasons. He always welcomes the benefits of a positive attitude. There are many advantages to having a positive attitude. The advantages are easy to see, but what is easy to see is also easy to miss. A positive attitude benefits for you, makes for a pleasing personality, is energizing, increase your enjoyment of life, inspires other around you, helps you become a contributing member of society and an asset to your country and for the organization. Increase productivity, foster teamwork, solves problems, improves quality, makes for a congenial atmosphere, breeds loyalty, increase profits, foster better relationships with employers, employees, and customers, reduce stress. The consequences of a negative attitude. Life is an obstacle course, and we become our biggest obstacle by having negative attitude. People with negative attitudes have a hard time keeping friendships, jobs, marriages, and relationships. Negative attitudes leads to bitterness, restlessness, a purposeless life, ill health, high stress level for themselves and others. Negative attitudes create an unpleasant environment at home, at work, and become a liability to society. They pass on their negative behavior, behavior to others around them and to the future generations. When we become aware of our negative attitude, why don't we change? Human nature generally resists change. Change is uncomfortable regardless of its positive or negative effect. Change can often be stressful. Sometimes we get so comfortable with our negativity that even when the change is for the better, we don't want to accept it. We stay with the negative. Charles Dickens wrote about a prisoner who was locked up for many years in a dungeon. After serving his sentence, he got his freedom. He was brought out from his cell into the bright daylight of the open world. This man looked all around and after a few moments was so uncomfortable with his newly acquired freedom that he asked to be taken back to the confines of his cell. To him, the chains and the darkness were more familiar, secure, and comfortable than accepting the change of freedom and an open world. Many modern day prisoners do the same thing. The stresses of having to cope in an unfamiliar world are so great that the many purposefully committed another crime in order to be sent back to prison, where though their freedom is restricted, they have fewer decisions to make. If your attitude is negative, your life is restricted. Your success at work will be limited. You will have fewer friends. Your enjoyment of life will be less. In the next chapter, I will share with you my thoughts on how you can build a positive attitude. Believe me, working to build a positive attitude will be worth enduring the temporary stress and uncertainty of chance. So, the next chapter is how to build a positive attitude. During childhood, we form attitude that lasts lifetime. Undoubtedly, it would be easier to acquire a positive attitude during our formative years. If the combination of our inborn temperament and your early childhood experiences have produced by a positive attitude, you are indeed very fortunate. But if you have acquired a negative attitude, whether by a design or by default, are you stuck with it? Of course not. Can you change? Yeah. Is it easy? Absolutely not. Is it worth it? You bet. How do you build and maintain a positive attitude? Become aware of the principles that build a positive attitude. Desire to be positive. Cultivate the discipline and dedication to practice those principles. As adults, regardless of our environment, education, and experience, we are responsible for our attitude. We are. We have to accept responsibility for our behavior and actions. Some people blame everyone and everything but themselves. It is up to us to choose our attitude every morning. People with negative attitude often blame the whole world, their parents, teachers, post bosses, the stars, fate, luck, the economy, and the government for their failures. You have to get away from the past. Dust yourself off and get back into the mainstream. Put your dreams together and move forwards. Thinking of the positive things that are true, honest, and good will put you in a positive state of mind. 8 steps of attitude change. If you want to build and maintain a positive attitude, you need to consciously practice the following steps. Step number 1. Change change focus, look for the positive. You need to become a seeker of good. You need to focus on the positive in your life. Start looking for what is right in a person or situation instead of looking for what is wrong. Because of our conditioning, reason of us are so attuned to finding fault and looking for what is wrong that we often forget to see the positive picture. Look for the gold. Andrew Carnegie came to America from Scotland as a young boy. He started out by doing odd jobs and ended up as one of the largest steel manufacturers in United States. At one time, he had 43 millionaires working for him. A million $1 million is a lot of money today. But in the 1920s, it was worth much more. Someone once asked Mr. Carnegie how he dealt with people. He replied, dealing with people is a lot like digging for gold. When you go digging for an ounce of gold, you have to move tons of dirt. But when you go digging, you don't go looking for the dirt. You go looking for the gold. Andrew Carnegie's reply has a very important message. Though sometimes it may not be apparent, there is something positive in every person and every situation. We have to dig deep to look for the positive. What is your focus? Search for the gold. If you are looking for what is wrong with people or with things, you will find many faults. What are we looking for? Gold or dirt? Even in paradise, finders will find faults. Most people find what they are looking for. Some people will always look for the negative. Negative people will always criticize. Some people criticize no matter what. It does not matter how well something is done, they will always find fault with it. They have made a career out of criticizing. They are career critics. They criticize as if they will win a prize at a contest. They will find fault with every person in every situation. You will find people like this in every family and office. They go around finding at fault and telling everybody how bad things are and blaming the whole world for their problems. These people are energy suckers. They will go to the cafeteria and drown themselves in 20 cups of tea and coffee and smoke to their hearts. Content with one excuse, they are trying to relax. All that they are doing is causing more tension for themselves and for others around them. They spread negative messages like plague you and create an environment conducive to negative results. Robert Fulton invented the steamboat. He displayed his new invention on the banks of the Hudson River. Among the crowd who had gathered around to observe the steamboat were some pessimists and skeptics. They commented that the steamboat would never start. Some agreed. As it made its way down the river, the pessimist who said it would never start saw it start. Immediately, everyone began to express gratitude. There was a hunter who bought an amazing bird dog. This one of a king dog could walk on water. The hunter was looking forward to showing off his new acquisition to his friend. He invited a friend to go duck hunting. After some time, they shot a few ducks and the man ordered his dog to fetch the birds. All day long, whenever there were birds to be fetched, dog ran on water to retrieve the birds. The owner was expecting his friend to comment or compliment him about his amazing dog, but never got one. As they were returning home, he asked his friend if he had noticed anything unusual about his dog. The friend replied, "Yes, in fact, I did notice something unusual. Your dog can't swim." Some people always look at the negative side. Who is a pessimist? Pessimists are unhappy when they have no troubles to speak of. Feel bad when they feel good for fear they will feel worse when they feel better. Spend most of their life at complaint counters, always turn out the light to see how dark it is, are always looking for cracks in the mirror of life. They stop sleeping in bed when they hear that more people die in bed than anywhere else. They cannot enjoy their health because they think they may be sick tomorrow. They not only expect the worst but make the worst of whatever happens. They don't see the definite, only the whole. They believe that the sun shines only to cast shadow. They forget their blessings and count their troubles. They know that hard work never hurts anyone, but believe. Why take a chance? Caution. Looking for the positive does not necessarily mean overlooking faults. Be an optimist. How can one be an optimist? It is well described by the following: be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. Talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet. Make all your friends feel that you appreciate their good qualities and strengths. Look at the sunny side of everything. Think only of his best, work only for the best, and expect only the best. Be as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. Forget the mistakes of the past and praise on the greater achievements of the future. Give everyone a smile. Spend so much time improving yourself that you have no time left to criticize others. Be too big for worry and too noble for anger. Step 2. Make a habit of doing it now. He slept beneath the moon, he basked beneath the sun, he lived life of going to do and died with nothing done. We have all procrastinated at some time in our lives. I know I have only to have regretted it later. Procrastination leads to a negative attitude. The habit of procrastination fatigues you more than the effort it takes to do it. A completed task is fulfilling and energizing, and incomplete task drains energy. If you want to build and maintain a positive attitude, get into the habit of living in the present and doing it now. When I become a big boy, this is like the little boy who says, when he become a big boy, he will do this and that and will be happy. And when he become a big boy, he said, when he finishes college, he will be happy. And then he finishes college. He says, then when he get his first job, he will be happy. And when he get his first job, he says that when he gets married, then he will be happy. And then he gets married and says when the kids get out of school, he will be happy. And when the kid get out of school, he says that when he retires, he will be happy. And when he retires, and what does he see? He sees life has just gone by in front of his eyes. Some people practice procrastination by hiding behind high sounded words, saying, I'm analyzing, and 6 months later, they are still analyzing. What they don't realize is that they are suffering from a disease called paralysis by analysis, and they will never succeed. Then there is another breed of people who procrastinate, procrastinate by saying, I'm getting ready. A month later, they are still getting ready, and 6 months later, they are still getting ready. What they don't realize is they are suffering from a disease called excusitis. They keep marking excuses. Live in the present. Life is not dress rehearsal. I don't care what philosophy you believe in. We have got only one shot at this game called life. The stakes are too high to waste your life. The stakes are the future generations. What time is it and where are we? The answer is now, and we are here. Let's make the best of now and utilize the present to the fullest. The message is not that we don't need to plan for the future. The message is that we do need to plan for the future. If we utilize our present to its fullest, we are sowing the seed for a better future. If you want to build a positive attitude, learn the phrase, do it now, and stop the habit to procrastination. The saddest words in life are, it might have been, I should have, I could have, I wish I had, if only I had given a little extra. Never leave till tomorrow, which you can do today. I'm sure all winners wanted to be procrastinators but never got around to it. When people say, I will do it one of these days, you can be sure it means none of these days. Some people keep waiting for all the lights to return green before they leave home, and they will never happen. They failed. They fail even before they start. That is sad. Stop procrastinating. Isn't it time that we put off putting things off? Count your blessings, not your troubles. This is the third step. Develop an attitude of gratitude. Take time to smell the roses. It is not uncommon to hear that someone, because of an accident, became blind or paralyzed but not won $1 million in the settlement. How many of us would like to trade places with that person? Not many. We are so focused on complaining about things we do not have that we lose sight of the things we have. There is a lot to be thankful for. When I say count your blessings, not your troubles, I don't mean that you should become complacent. Attitude of gratitude does not mean complacency. If complacency was the message you got, then I would be guilty of faulty communication and you of selective listening. To give you an example of selective listening, let me share with you a story I heard about a medical doctor who was invited as a guest speaker to address a group of alcoholics. He wanted to make a demonstration that of would be powerful enough to make people realize that alcohol was injurious to their health. He had two containers, one with pure distilled water and one with pure alcohol. He put an earthworm into the distilled water and it swam beautifully and came up to the top. He put another earthworm into the alcohol and it disintegrated in front of everyone's eyes. He wanted to prove that this was what alcohol did to the inside of our body. He asked the group what the moral of the story was, and one person from behind said, if you drink alcohol, you won't have worms in your stomach. Was that the message? Of course not. That was selective listening. We hear what we want to hear and not what is being said. Many of our blessings are hidden treasures. Count your blessings, not your troubles. Step 4. Get into a continuous education program. Let's get some myths of the way. It is a general belief that we get educated in schools and colleges. During my seminars in many different countries, there is a question I often ask my audience. Do we really get educated in school and colleges? Generally, there is a consequences that some people do, but most don't. Don't get me wrong. We receive a lot of information in schools and colleges. We do need information to be educated, but we also need to know the true meaning of education. Intellectual education influences the head, and values based education influences the heart. In fact, education that does not train the heart can be dangerous if we want to build character in our offices, home, and society. We must achieve a minimum level of moral and ethical We must achieve a minimum level of moral and ethical literacy. Education that builds fundamental traits of character such as honesty, compassion, courage, persistence, and responsibility is absolutely essential. We don't need more academic education, we need more value based education. A person who is morally educated will be a lot better equipped to move on up in life or succeed than will be a morally bankrupt person with excellent academic qualifications. Education with values. Universities are turning out highly skilled barbarians because we do not provide a framework of values to young people who more and more searching for it. How to build a positive attitude. True education is training of both the head and the heart. The uneducated thief may steal from the freight car, but an educated one may steal the entire railroad. We need to compete for knowledge and wisdom, not for grades. Knowledge is piling up facts, wisdom is simplifying it. One could have good grades and a degree and still not learn much. The most important thing one can learn is to learn to learn. People confuse education with the ability to memorize facts. Education, the mind without moral, creates a maniac in society. Knowledge is not power. We often are told that knowledge is power. Not really. Knowledge is information. It is potential power and it becomes power only when it is acted upon. What is the difference between a person who cannot read and a person who can but does not read? As Ben Franklin said, not a whole lot. Learning is a lot like eating. What you eat that matters. What matters is how much you digest. Knowledge is potential power. Wisdom is real power. Education takes many forms. It is not just grades and a degree. It is cultivating your strength, learning self discipline, listening, eagerness to learn. Our minds are like muscles, stretch or shrink. It all depends on how much or how little we exercise them. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Education does not mean good judgment. There is a story about a man who sold hot dogs by a roadside. He was illiterate, so he never read newspapers. He was hard of hearing, so he never listened to the radio. His eyes were weak, so he never watched television. But enthusiastically, he sold lots of hot dogs. His sales and profit went up. He ordered more meat and got himself a bigger and a better stove. As his business was growing, the son, who had recently graduated from college, joined his father. Then something strange happened. The son asked, Dad, are not you aware of the great recession that is coming our way? The father replied, No, but tell me about it. The son the son said the international situation is terrible. The domestic situation is even worse. We should prepare for the coming bad times. The man thought that since his son had been to college, read the papers, and listen to the radio, he ought to know, and his advice should not be taken lightly. So the next day, the father cut down his order for the meat and buns, took down the sign, and was no longer as enthusiastic. Very soon, Fewer and fewer people bothered to stop at his hot dog stand, and his sales started coming down rapidly. The father said to his son, "Son, you were right. We are in the middle of a recession. I am glad you warned me ahead of time." What morals can we take away from this story? Our expectations can create self fulfilling prophecy. Many times we confuse intelligence with good judgment. A person may have high intelligence but poor judgment. Choose your advisors carefully but use your own judgment. The person can find and will be successful with or without formal education if they have 5 C's: character, commitment, conviction, courtesy, courage. The strategy is that there are many walking encyclopedias who are living failures. Intelligence is quickness to learn, skill is an ability, competence is the ability along with the willingness and desire to apply what is learned. Desire is the attitude that makes a skillful person competent. Many skillful persons are incomplete. Ability without the right altitude is wasted. The first duty of a university is to teach wisdom, not trait character, not technicalities. What does it mean to be educated? Whom then do I call educated? First, those who manage well the circumstances which they encounter day by day, and those who can judge situations appropriately and as they arise and rarely miss the suitable course of action. Next, those who are honorable in their dealing with all men, bearing easily what is unpleasant or offensive in others, and being as responsible with their associated as if humanly possible. Furthermore, those who hold their pleasure always under control and are not unduly overcome by their misfortunes, bearing up under them bravely and in a manner worthy of our common nature. Most important of all, those who are not inspired by their success, who do not desert their true selves, but hold their ground steadfastly, as wise and sober minded men, rejoicing no more in the good things and that have come to them through chance than in those which through their own nature and intelligence are their since birth. Those who have a character which is in accord not with one of these things but with all of them, these are educated, possessed of all virtues. In a nutshell, educated person are those who choose wisely and courageously. Under any circumstances, if they choose between wisdom or foolishness, good or bad, virtue over vulgarity, regardless of the academic degree they have, then they are educated. What is a broad based education? Some animals in a forest decided to start a school. The student included a bird, a retarded eel. A board was formed to determine the curriculum, and it was decided that flying, tree climbing, swimming, and burrowing would give me a broad based education. All animals were required to take all subjects. The bird was excellent at flying and was getting a bird and started failing. Pretty soon, it started making C's in flying and of course in tree climbing and swimming it was getting good. The squirrel was great at tree climbing but was failing in swimming. The fish was the best swimmer but couldn't get out of the water and thus got F's in everything else. The dog didn't join the school, stopped paying taxes, and kept fighting with the administration to include barking. As part of the curriculum, rabbit got as in rearing, but tree climbing was real problem. It kept falling and landing on its head, suffered brain damage, as soon couldn't even burrow properly, and got CS in that too. The mentally retarded eel, who did everything half as well, became the valedictorian of the class. The board was unhappy because everybody was getting a broad based education. A true broad based education prepares students for life without losing their areas of specialization and competence. We are all gifted with some strengths. The small size of hummingbird, weighing only a tenth of an ounce, give it the flexibility to perform complicated maneuvers such as beating its wings 75 times a second. This enables the hummingbirds to drink nectar from flowers while hovering, but it cannot soar, glide, or hop. The ostrich at 300 pounds is the largest bird, but it can't fly. However, its legs are so strong that it can run at up to 50 miles per hour, taking strides of 1250 feet. Ignorance. Being ignorant is not so much shame as being unwilling to learn to do things the right way. The illusion of knowledge is not education but ignorance. Foolish people have a strange kind of confidence which comes only with ignorance. There is nothing wrong with ignorance, but marking a career out of it is stupidity. Some people are accumulate ignorance and then confuse it with education. Ignorance is not bliss. It is misery, tragedy, poverty, and sickness. If ignorance is bliss, why aren't more people happy? If a little knowledge is dangerous, so is a lot of ignorance which leads a prettiness, fear, dogmatism, egotism, and prejudice. Wisdom is nothing more than dispelling ignorance. We live in an information age. It is estimated that the amount in information is doubling every year. With information so readily available, it is easy to dispel ignorance. It is sad to see that we are taught everything but the most essential things. We are taught that 3 rupees reading, writing, arithmetic, but what good is intellectual education without understanding human dignity and compassion? Schools are a foundation of knowledge. Some students come to drink, some to sip, and others just to gargle. Common sense. We are born with 5 senses: touch, taste, sight, smell, and hearing. But successful people have a sixth sense: common sense. Common sense is the ability to see things as they are and do them as ought to be done. The application of education and knowledge without common sense is meaningless. Common sense may not necessarily be a result of education. The best education without common sense is worthless. An abundance of common sense is called wisdom. Sharpen your axe. John, a woodcutter, worked for a company for 5 years but never got a raise. The company hired Bill, and within a year he got a raise. Then John resented Bill's getting a raise after only a year and went to his boss to talk about it. The boss said, "You are still cutting the same number of trees you were cutting 5 years ago. We are result oriented company and would be happy to give you a raise if your productivity goes up." John went back, started hitting harder and putting in longer hours, but he still wasn't able to cut more trees. He went back to his boss and told him his dilemma. The boss told John to talk to Bill. "Maybe there is something Bill knows that you and I don't." John asked Bill how they managed to cut more trees. Bill answered, "After every tree I cut, I take a break for 2 minutes and sharpen my axe." "When was the last time you sharpened your axe?" "When was the last time you sharpened your axe?" Past glory and education don't count for much. We have to continuously sharpen the axe. Feed your mind, just as our bodies need good for every day. Our mind needs good thoughts every day. The key words in the preceding sentence are good food and good thoughts. If we feed your body with junk food and our mind with bad thoughts, we will have both a sick body and a sick mind. We need to feed our mind with pure and positive to stay on track. Education is a reservoir. Continuous positive education leads to positive thinking. Positive thinkers are like Positive thinkers are like athletes who through practice build an inner reservoir of stamina that they draw on during competition. If they don't practice, they have nothing to draw on. Similarly, positive thinkers regularly build a reserve of positive attitude by constantly feeding the mind on the pure, the powerful, and the positive on a daily basis. They realize that we are all going to be faced with the negative and we have the reserve of positive attitude, we will be able to overcome it. Otherwise, the negative will prevail. Positive thinkers are not fools and they are not going through life with blinders. They are winners who recognize their limitations but focus on their strengths. Losers, on the other hand, recognize their strengths but focus on their weakness. Step 5. Build a positive self esteem. What is self esteem? Self esteem is the way we feel about ourselves. When we feel good within, our performance goes up and our relationships improve both at home and at work. The world looks nicer. What could be the reason? Because there is a direct correlation between our feelings and behavior. How do we build positive self esteem? If you want to build a positive self esteem quickly, one of the fastest way to do something for those who cannot repay you in cash or kind. A few years ago, I started volunteering my time to teach attitude and self-esteem programs to jail inmates. In just few weeks, I learned more than I had learned in years. After attending my program for 2 weeks, one of the inmates stopped and me said, "Shiv, I'm going to be released from the prison in a couple of weeks." I asked him, what he had learned through the attitude development program. He thought for a while and then said that he felt good about himself. I said, "Good doesn't tell me anything. Tell me specifically what behavior has changed." I believe that learning has not taken place unless behavior changes. He told me that since starting the program, he reads the Bible every day. I then asked him what reading the Bible did to him. He replied that he now felt comfortable with himself and others, something he hadn't felt before. I said to him, "That is, you leave jail?" He told me he was going to try to be a contributing member of society. I asked him the same question again and he gave me the same answer. Then I asked him, "What are you going to do when you leave jail?" Obviously, I'm looking for a different answer. At this point, in an angry tone, he said, "I'm going to be a contributing member of society." I pointed out to him that there was a world of difference in what he had said earlier and what he said now. First, he had said, "I'm going to try to be," and now he said, "I'm going to be." The difference is the word try. Either we do something or we don't. The word try keeps the door open for him to come back to jail. Another inmate who was listening in one conversation asked, "Shiv, what do you get paid to all this?" I told him the feeling that I just experienced was worth more than what I could get paid in memory terms. He then asked, "Why do you come here?" I said, "I come here for my own selfish reasons. I want to make his world a better place to live." This kind of selfishness is healthy. In a nutshell, what you put into the system, you always get back. And most time it is more than you can ever put in. But you don't put it in with the desire to get something back. Another inmate said, "What anybody does it their own business. When people take drugs, it is none of your business. Why don't you leave them alone?" I replied, "My friend, even though I disapprove, I will compromise and accept what you are saying. That it is none of my business. Can you guarantee that when someone takes drugs and gets behind the wheel of a car and has an accident, the only thing they will ever hit is a tree?" I will compromise, but if you cannot guarantee this, you or I or our kids would be dead. You better believe it is my business. I have to get this person out of roads. There's one phrase, "It is my life. I will do it what I want," has done more damage than goods. People choose to ignore the spirit and derive the meaning that is convenient to them. Such people have tied the phrase to selfishness, and this had the negative effect on the world around them. These people forget that we do not live in isolation. What you do affects me, and what I do affects you. We are connected. We have to realize that we are sharing this planet and we must learn to behave responsibly. There are two kinds of people in the world, givers and takers. Takers eat well and givers sleep well. Givers have high self esteem, a positive attitude, and they serve society. By serving society, I do not mean a run of the mill pseudo leader turned politician who serve himself by pretending to serve others. As human beings, we all have the need to receive and take. But a healthy personality with high self esteem is one that not only has its need to take but also give. A man was washing his new car when his neighbor asked him, "When did you get the car?" He replied, "My brother gave it to me." The neighbor said, "I wish I had a car like that." The man replied, "You should wish to have a brother like that." The neighbor's wife was listening to the conversation and she interrupted. "I wish I was a brother like that." Was it a positive what a positive way to think? Step 6. Stay away from negative influences. Impressionable minds get influenced by adult behavior and the media. Peer pressure affects not only children and teenagers, it is also prevalent in adults. It shows a lack of self esteem when people do not have the courage. No, thank you. And stay away from negative influences. What are the negative influences? Negative people. An eagle's egg was placed in the nest of a prairie chicken. The egg hatched and the little eagle grew up thinking it was prairie chickens. The eagle did what he prairie chickens did. It scratched in the dirt for seeds. It clucked and cracked. It never flew more than a few feet because that is what the prairie chickens did. One day he saw an eagle flying gracefully and majestically in the open sky. He asked the prairie chickens, "What is that beautiful bird?" The chickens replied, "That is an eagle. He is an outstanding bird, but you cannot fly like him because you are just a prairie chicken." So the eagle never gave it to a second thought, believing that to be the truth. He lived a life and died a prairie chicken, depriving himself to his heritage because of his lack of vision. What a waste! He was born to win, but conditioned to lose. The same thing is true for most people. The unfortunate part of life is Oliver Wendell Holmes said, "Most people to go their graves with music still in them. We don't achieve excellence because of our own lack and vision." If you want to soar like an eagle, you have to learn the ways of an eagle. If you associate with achievers, you will become one. If you associate with thinkers, you will become one. If you associate with givers, you will become one. If you associate with negative people, you will become one. Wherever people succeed in life, pretty people will take cracks at them and try to pull them down. When you refuse to fight pretty people, you win. In material arts, they teach that when someone takes a crack at you, Instead of blocking, you should step away. Why? Blocking requires energy. Why not use it more productively? Similarly, in order to fight pretty people, you have to come down to their level. That is what they want because now you are one of them. Don't let negative people drag you down. Remember that a person's character is not only judged by the company they keep but also by the company they avoid. Smoking, drugs, and alcohol. One reason that I don't drink is that I want to know when I'm having a good time. Lady Astor. Drinking makes a person lose in inhibitions and give exhibitions. In my travels, I have noticed that in same countries drinking has become a national pastime. If you don't drink, then look at you as if there is something wrong. The motto is it doesn't matter how bad your English is, as long as your Scotch is good. If a banker asked them what their liquid assets are, they would bring 2 bottles of Scotch. Drinking and smoking are glamorized today. This all start with the first time. If you ask people why they consume alcohol or take drugs, they will give you host of reasons, such as to celebrate, to have fun, to forget problems, to relax, to experiment, to impress other. It is cool to drink, to be fashionable, to mingle for business purposes. People want to confirm the peer pressure. I'm amazed at the words peer pressure compels us with phrases such as aren't you my friend? One for the road, one for my health. The following poem from an unknown author explains the dilemma of a social drinker well. I have drunk to your health in chicken and I have drunk to your health in my home. I have drunk to your health so damn many times that I have almost ruined my own. Drinking and driving cost lives Jerry Johnson in his book It's Killing Our Kids. Since American Hospital Association reports that half of our hospital admissions are alcohol related. According to the National Safety Council's 1989 accident facts edition, a person is injured in an alcohol related crash every 60 seconds. Pornography. Pornography is nothing short of dehumanizing women and children. The consequences of pornography are that is dehumanizes women, victimizes children, destroy marriages, encourages sexual violence, make fun of ethical and moral values, destroy individuals, families, and communities. A woman is raped in the United States every 46 seconds. National Victim Center Crime Victims Research and Treatment Center 1992. Research and Treatment Center 1992. 86% of rapists admit to regular use to pornography, with 57% admitting imitation of pornography scenes when committing sex crimes. Dr. William Marshall, 1988. It is sad to see how low some people will stoop to make a buck by making pornography their business. Negative movies and television programs. Today, kids are learning their attitude and values more from television and movies than from any source. It is estimated that in the United States, by the time a youngster gets out of high school, he has watched more than 2,000 hours of television, witnessed 50,000 murders, and watched 10,000 alcohol-related commercials. Television programming and advertisement convey the message that drinking is fun, smoking is glamorous, and drugs are in thing. No wonder the crime rate is so high. Soap operas or other television shows as well. Movies glamorize premarital and extramarital sex. No wonder commitments are lacking in relationships and divorce rates are high. Impressionable viewers set their standards and benchmark based on what they see and hear in the media. And no matter who we are all impressionable to varying degrees. Profanity. Using profanity show a lack of vocabulary, self-control, and discipline. Rock music. The lyrics of some hit songs are absent. The music we hear and the performance we watch can subconsciously influence us. Step 7. Learn to like the things that need to be done. Start by doing what is necessary, then what is people, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. Some things need to be done whether we like them or not. For example, mother caring for their young. This may not always be fun and may even be painful. But if we learn to like that task, impossible becomes possible. Step 8. Start your day with something positive. Read or listen to something positive first thing in the morning. After a good night's sleep, we are relaxed and our subconscious are respective. It sets the tone for the day and puts us in the right frame of mind to make the day positive day. In order to bring about change, we need to make a conscious effort and be committed to make positive thoughts and behavior part of our lives. Practice having positive thoughts and behavior of daily until they become a habit. William James of Harvard University said, if you are going to change your life, you need to start immediately. If you follow the 8 steps above, you will be a winner. Winner versus losers. The winner is always part of the answer. The loser is always part of the problem. The winner is always has a program. The loser always has an excuse. The winner says, let me do it for you. The loser said, that is not my job. The winner sees an answer for every problem. The loser sees a problem for every answer. The winner says, it may be difficult, but it is possible. The loser says, it may be possible, but it's too difficult. When a winner makes a mistake, he says, I was wrong. When a loser makes a mistake, he says, it wasn't my fault. A winner makes commitments. A loser makes promises. Winners have dreams. Losers have schemes. Winners say, I must do something. Losers say, something must be done. Winners are part of the team. Losers are a part of the team. Winners see the gain. Losers see the pain. Winners see possibilities. Losers see problems. Winners believe in win. Losers believe for them to win, someone has to lose. Winners see the potential. Losers see the past. Winners are like thermostat. Losers are like thermostats. Winners choose what they say. Losers say what they choose. Winner used to hard had arguments but soft words. Loser use soft arguments but hard words. Winners stand firm on values but compromise on pretty things. Losers stand firm on pretty things but compromise on values. Winners follow the philosophy of empathy. Don't do to others what you would not want them to do to you. Losers follow the philosophy do it to others before they do it to you. Winners make it happen. Losers let it happen. Winners plan and prepare to win. The key word is preparation. Action steps. You may be disappointed if you fail, but you will be doomed if you don't try. Let me close this chapter with the 8 steps discussed earlier. Look for the positive, make a habit of doing it now, develop an attitude of gratitude, create a continuous education program for yourself, build a positive esteem, stay away from negative influences, learn to like the things that you need to be done, start your day with something positive. Action plan. Number 1. Write these action steps down on a 3 by 5 index card and read them every day for the next 21 days. For the next 30 minutes, answer the following questions. How can you use each step? At home, at work, socially. Number 3. Make a list of the things you would like to change about yourself. Number 4. Then list the benefit to you and others of each change. Number 5. Finally, establish a timetable and commit yourself to make the changes.